Today, we will discuss a concept known as ageism that is unfortunately quite common in our society today. In short, it is discrimination against the elderly and a form of elderly abuse. We will provide examples throughout the presentation and discuss the negative impacts it can have on this vulnerable population. A common example of ageism that is quite prevalent in society is stereotyping members of the elderly community. Adjectives such as senile, handicapped, needy, crazy, fragile, and out of touch are common characteristics that come into the minds of individuals when thinking of those in their later years. Many older folks may display some of these characteristics. However, there are also some that have very sharp minds and don't necessarily show any of these. The key is to treat and think of each geriatric patient as an individual. Now, ageism is not necessarily done on purpose. It can be done on accident with no intent to do any harm whatsoever. First, we will discuss deliberate ways individuals can perform acts of ageism. A common form of ageism that can be very hurtful to the elderly is the use of negative verbal language. For example, yelling out profanity towards them because they are not responding to you in an adequate manner or not doing what you are instructing them to do. This will not help the situation and will likely create fear, anger, and more resistance. Another common form of ageism is increasing the tone of your voice. Although in most cases, it is a good idea to naturally raise the volume of your voice to the elderly, those who do have good hearing will feel like you are yelling at them for no reason. It is a good idea to get some idea of their hearing abilities before assuming they are hearing impaired. Another example is neglecting to listen to patient concerns. It is the ultimate sign of disrespect to brush off someone's concerns like it doesn't matter and not offer to resolve the issue. Just showing that you care makes the most difference in the world. Many of the elderly are highly educated individuals who have had long, prosperous careers in their own right. It is important to realize that simply because someone is older, it does not mean they have automatically lost their ability to understand things. Although it is a good idea to speak slowly to older individuals, many of them have very sharp minds with a wealth of knowledge and experience to share, which they are often more than happy to. It is not always necessary to use short and simple language when communicating with this population. It can be quite insulting to them actually, where they might feel like a child or someone that did not graduate high school. As mentioned earlier, it is important to treat the elderly as individuals and not make any assumptions about their cognitive and intellectual capabilities. It is not always necessary to yell or speak very loudly at older individuals. Although some may be hearing impaired, the majority of them actually hear just fine and may find it irritating to be yelled at. Although contrary to popular belief, the majority of older individuals have proper hearing and can carry conversations with others in moderate volume and in a regular tone of voice. In fact, according to the American Medical Association, only 25 to 40% of the population 65 years and older experience hearing impairment. Now that we have discussed some deliberate forms of ageism, I will now explain some examples of how accidental ageism can occur as well. Although some may find no issues in using words such as sweetie or dear when referring to elderly individuals, these endearments can actually be embarrassing to older individuals that can make them feel like children. Many older individuals can feel quite sensitive when the topic of age is brought up in a joke or simply in a conversation. This may remind them that death may be in the near future. In addition, as making jokes about memory loss may serve as quality entertainment for younger individuals, this can be quite disrespectful to older individuals as it is a serious, debilitating issue that can affect the whole family. Unfortunately, comedy have used weaknesses in the elderly as punchlines and jokes to get laughs from audiences. Although they may be funny to some of us, it can certainly offend older individuals as they are constantly being made fun of over things that are hardly in their control. According to a survey in 2001, 54% of the elderly population reported that they were told jokes that make fun of older people, while 31% reported not being taken seriously or completely ignored. Healthcare professionals should not discuss patient matters in the open where others can overhear the conversation. An older individual's medical issues, or anyone's for that matter, doesn't need to be known by those not involved in their care. With the booming markets of iPads and smartphones, many of us assume these devices are way too sophisticated for older individuals to use properly. However, some older individuals have children and grandchildren that have explained to them how to use these devices and utilize features that can make text and graphics larger. Now we will delve into ways that the elderly manage the effects of ageism. Unfortunately, it can significantly impact their mental state and can consequently lead into physical complications as well. All of the behaviors I have mentioned to this point can have long-lasting negative effects on the elderly. First and foremost, older individuals can really take these behaviors to heart and relish on them for a while. They often internalize their feelings and fail to express them externally, where others can offer a helping hand to comfort them. Instead of reaching out for help, where a therapist or loved one can offer love and advice, they fail to speak up and remain in a miserable state of mind. As the elderly internalize their feelings of frustration and worthlessness, it can often reach a point where it affects their activities of daily living and relationships with friends and family. Unfortunately, they can become severely depressed due to the culmination of behavior that has been expressed towards them over time. This can lead to appetite changes, changes in sleep schedule, feelings of guilt, and possibly more medications to treat their depression on top of other disease states they might already have. Earlier in the presentation, I mentioned some common stereotypes of the elderly, such as being handicapped, needy, and fragile. It is important to remember that many older individuals are in great shape and engage in a variety of physical activities, such as running, biking, and swimming. To many of them, age is just a number and not indicative of their physical and mental state. As older individuals are more likely to have high blood pressure and high cholesterol, it becomes ever more important to maintain an active, healthy lifestyle. As some of us may just picture older individuals in wheelchairs and in nursing homes, there are plenty that take daily jogs around the park, such as the gentleman seen here below. This is a wonderful way to free your mind off of whatever may be bothering you and just enjoy the Mother Nature that surrounds you. As I previously mentioned, it is important to maintain an active lifestyle, if able, as one enters older years. The older woman seen here seems to have developed an effective workout routine for herself that has created some serious muscle tone. As it may be rare to run into women who look like this, plenty of older individuals have gym memberships that allow them access to not only workout equipment, but basketball courts, saunas, and swimming pools. After discussing the topic of ageism today, I hope everyone realizes the importance of remembering to embrace and respect your elders. These individuals have lived long lives and deserve to live out their final years in happiness and pride. Next time you interact with an elderly individual, just think about what you say and how you are treating them. If it comes from your heart, everyone will be happy.